had a similar tempo, like similar.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Chortle
so fast.
Cast. Sorry, I told you it was 35 seconds.
It felt like 10.
I'm Jake, one of your hosts for tonight. I'm joined by the Stream King, the Far Cry guy, the man who his mind's just getting blown tonight. All right, just a lot of mind blowing happening over here with Steven.
What does
That's
that mean?
you.
What does that mean?
Have you not seen the supplemental image that I've put in for you tonight since you said, "Oh, I'm not doing camera"?
I'm sorry that me not doing camera was a decision I made for my wife, who is trying to relax on her bruised knee and doesn't want to be on camera right behind me.
We gotta protect the feet pics. It's a very important piece of the puzzle.
Why did you do this?
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Chortle Cast, the
That's
official
not even
podcast
that's half you.
of Chortle Games, where we talk about video games, TV shows, movies, anime, whatever the heck we want to talk about. Steven, I did it because the image of you is square. All right. Now, full disclosure,
Screw you.
I want to eventually make these cameras square, but I haven't gotten there yet. And so I needed something in the background, and that was just the first thing that happened. So if I had been given more warning, I could have better prepared. But here we are. This is what we have. Okay. But now it looks like you're talking. You know, you're moving your hands around. You're doing stuff.
It does not look like I'm talking. It looks like you took a square image and put it on top of a GIF.
GIFs just kind of. Let's take a detour here in the middle of the intro. GIFs are crazy.
Now is the detour?
Like, how does that work? Because I imported that as an image, and it identifies as an image, but it's a GIF and it moves.
Well, it's 2022. You can identify as whatever you want these days.
That's true. I guess that's true. That's fair. That's a fair point. Anyway, Chortle Games, whatever we want to talk about. We got a great show for you tonight. Tonight, a little bit lighter week. We're going to talk about. Steven's been playing Fire Emblem Three Hopes.
Yep.
Fire Emblem Warriors Three Hopes, I should say. Yep. And then I watched the Mighty Thor War Table, and I have some thoughts on that. And then there was one other thing in the middle that I'm blanking on that we were going to talk about, TMNT, which we played on a stream this past weekend. We actually beat the whole thing on stream. So if you want to watch that game, go watch it. I personally highly recommend you go play it because it's a short play, very fun, took me back, made me feel like a kid again, you know, playing those arcade games I wasn't allowed to play. It was great. It's a great time.
What's up? Allowed to play arcade games?
No, I was, but like I didn't really discover video games proper until much later in life. Like
that's,
you know what I mean?
Yeah. Fun story about that. We had a PlayStation 1. Well, technically the first systems that we had were the Super Nintendo, I believe, and the Sega Genesis. But we were behind on everything. Like we got a PlayStation 1 because it was cheap, and we played that a decent amount. The game I played the most was Star Wars Jedi Power Battles. It's amazing. I hope to do a forward compatible on that one day because it definitely did not age well, but I'm going to try to fight for it to fight to say that it did age well. But right before we left to go on a cruise as a family, which ended up not happening because the ship hit a sandbar and that whole thing fell through. But right before we left to do that, my mom won a contest at the grocery store and got a free PS2. And that is when I got into gaming because my mom won a free PS2. And she would always make jokes to where she was like, "Did you ask to play my PlayStation?"
What a great mom joke. I love that. See, we had an N64 growing up that my mom played Donkey Kong on, and she and I played Donkey Kong together. But like, she is not a gamer, so she didn't really know what was going on, and I just didn't know what was going on. So I just replayed a certain level with Tiny Kong where you shrunk down and went into a spider's nest. And I just pretended that I was getting captured by the spider. And that was just like the funnest thing ever for me.
I played NASCAR Thunder 2003 with my dad on PlayStation 2. That's the only game that I've ever really played with him. And I, being a child, got so bored with the NASCAR formula so fast that I turned it into let's go backwards and literally kill every other car so that I can win without actually having to race.
Though, that's such a more fun game
It was way more fun
than what they have already prescribed for you. Speaking of that, when does that Hot Wheels thing that Forza's doing come
July.
out? Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's soon,
that's not far. That's not far. I like that. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we are of course we're going to talk about the other stuff. But that was a fun little interlude there. Also, while we're doing the stream tonight, we are going to be playing a little bit of Monster Hunter Rise.
Yep.
So
you are now the furthest behind of our little band of merry hunters. Matt is, I think, 1.5 ranks away from Sunbreak content. So you got to catch up. I told him.
Vortex said, I probably didn't exist yet, so I can't be in this conversation. By the way, what's up, Vortex, and what's up, Courtney?
Yeah, hey guys.
I don't know if I said hi.
I told Matt, and I wasn't joking when I told Matt that I was going to mention this to you, but let's just say that I am joking when I mention this to you, unless if you go for it, then I wasn't joking, and it was a great idea.
I'm a little lost on what the heck you're talking about, but go on.
I told Matt, I was like, yeah, the only way to get Jake caught up in time for Sunbreak is to do like a marathon stream where we just blitz all the way through these ranks.
You got time? You got time Friday?
Yeah.
Tough. I don't. I'm just kidding. I was gonna go do a movie marathon and go see like the Buzz Lightyear movie. I was gonna see Jurassic Park Dominion. What up, Joe? I was gonna see potentially the Bob's Burgers movie. That was the one that was like the maybe of the group.
Yeah. Okay. Are you going by yourself or are you going with a group?
I was gonna take the day. I was gonna go as early as the first showing would let me, and I was just gonna spend all day. I was gonna have lunch at the movie theater,
So you're just gonna do a Jake's Day out and marathon a bunch of movies.
Well, yeah. So my day job, I get every other Friday off in the summer, and the past 2 or 3 that we've had, I have had things to do, and this is the first one that like I don't really have anything I've like got to do. So I was gonna take the day to myself, but I was like originally too. I was thinking, okay, I might do a stream where I put together my Lego set. I was thinking, Friday might be a good day to do that. But that's not the
look. If you're telling me right now, like I don't want to take away from Jake's Day out, but if you're telling me like, hey, we could do a stream where we just knock this thing out, I'd be for that personally.
Well, I think that's what you're telling me. So I feel like I need to do that.
Don't let me tell you what to do, but I am going to tell you, you still have a good few hours of hunting to do, which we probably should have started hunting by now. We could have killed a monster and a half by now.
I am trying so hard to get you into this game, but before we started streaming, I did not put my Discord window in my second screen. Here's the thing, Steven. I've come to the conclusion that two windows, two like monitors is not enough. It's just not enough.
Yeah.
It's not enough. People will tell you it's enough, but it's not. It's just not. And I just want everyone else to know that. So.
Okay. Well, I'm still waiting for that invite.
Well, I've already sent it. I put it in the Discord.
I got it.
Take it up with my manager. His name is Juan. Anyway. All right, so Courtney's saying you should... Okay, now hang on. Vortex is saying you should watch Killer Bean instead, Jake. That'll be a better use of your time. Now, Killer Bean, I don't have a clue what you're talking about. Are you talking about that new movie with Mr. Beans? I don't think it's Mr. Beans, but it's like...
It's Mr. Bean, not Beans. Beans is
Mr. Bean.
Sidekick from Stephen Stevens.
And he's like...
Who got killed by Aslan? No, who killed Beans?
I don't remember, but he didn't stand a chance against whoever he was going up against.
It was Beast.
Anyway, Mr. Bean was doing something. There's some new movie with him, starring him, that actor, and I think it's called All About a Bee, or There Was a Bee, Anyway, I digress. Is that what you're talking about, Vortex? And then Rose said the only movie out right now that I have any interest in is the new Jurassic World one, which is Jurassic Park Dominion. I was I just am kind of so on the Jurassic Park series. Like I want to go see it just to go see it, but like I didn't like hire a babysitter to go see it like I have the past couple Marvel movies that have happened. But I kind of just want to go see it. But I don't know. Apparently there's some like bug like plot that happens in this. And I'm not sure.
Technically, all of Jurassic World is a bug plot because they recovered the dino DNA from Emblem.
Well, apparently, so like the whole premise of
post 100
of World, did I not?
I didn't see one.
Oh, my bad. Maybe I came in here and was like, oh, let me just do this.
I'm not trying to rush us through.
No, you're fine.
Trying to be efficient with our time.
I get distracted when playing games and talking. So
now,
you know,
this is one that you have not completed already, right?
Yes.
Okay, great.
It was red. So yeah, I might go do that. But yeah, I'm cool for like a marathon and an all day Friday stream.
I am down with that. It comes out Thursday night, but I mean, people are going to be well. I mean, still, like we are. I'm not planning on doing Sunbreak content Thursday night because it launches at 11.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
so I was hoping we could do Marvel's Avengers Thursday night, but
I'd be fine with that.
Yeah,
I'd be fine with that.
Okay, cool. And that's a great segue to one of our actual topics that we decided we were going to talk about.
Yeah, I didn't watch this War Table because I was stuck in a staff meeting for a long time, and I figured it'd be more fun to listen to you explain it to me.
Well, so here's the deal, all right? A while back, it was announced that Mighty Thor, Jane Foster, was going to join the Marvel's Avengers game.
Right.
Complete waste. Kind of came out of nowhere, if you ask me.
Yep.
Because that wasn't one that we had heard rumors about. Yep. There was just whatever. Anyway, but that was announced. And then sometime shortly after, we got this trailer that was just the story, right? She's from a different dimension, or she's from a multiverse. She gets sucked into the world of our game, and that's why she's here. And okay, cool, great. But today we got a war table talking about, like, I mean, it briefly, it does what all of them have done, which is kind of tells you, hey, here's her comic book history, and here's her kind of the story behind why she's here in this game, and blah, 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 blah. And then it talks about, move set and everything. Now, to give it the benefit of the doubt, I was watching off of Twitter. And this was not live. I was watching what they posted when they posted the full thing. It was only like 6 minutes. It's an easy watch. I would skip through all the comic book stuff because you probably, well, I don't want to assume, but you probably know that. Honestly, Stephen, like,
yeah,
I know people gave them shit about Hawkeye and Kate.
Yeah.
And I I'm not going to say
that. And it was ultimately unwarranted.
I after seeing what I've seen today, I can say, wow, those two characters are completely different, because Jane Foster's Thor, I honestly, the whole time I was watching, I was just like, no, that's like the same combo set.
And
that's
you're a
the
Thor
same.
main.
I am a Thor main. Like, that's pretty much all I really play. Like, I dabbled with Hawkeye. Really, other than Hawkeye, like Hawkeye is maybe the person I've played the most as, other than Thor. And
you did a good bit of Black Panther, I thought.
Well, I did do a good bit of Black Panther, and then Captain America was who I was going to say. But I am a Thor main through and through. All right, that's who I play solo. That's just I play a lot of Thor. Anyway, all of that to say, it was really hard to tell, like, okay, who is this really just, this is just Thor all over again. And like, I'm sure there might be like minute differences, similar to
Get the other one.
similar to how Kate Bishop, I mean, like when you're shooting, there's some subtle differences, right?
Yeah.
But ultimately, you're shooting bows, and then when you get into the specials, those are different.
Well, the arrows are different as well.
Well, you're right. Their special arrows are different and everything. I honestly I could not tell a difference watching the gameplay. It was the same stuff. And even when they went into the specials and like the super moves and all this and that, like it was no different. And so I was very confused. The only like noticeable difference that I could see was that the super well there is that. And I noticed those. Trust me. And I'm just kidding.
Thor's probably got some, like Thor.
He's got some breasticles. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Anyway, what is
completely around? Just keep talking.
Oh, whoa!
Oh,
I'm sorry. That other guy got me for no reason. Anyway, just
come
no
back
difference.
over this area and
now,
pick up all the stuff that dropped. I'll keep pursuing.
I was waiting for them to be like, she's more of a support Thor, or she's more whatever. But actually, surprising or not, I think she might be a better like attacker than Thor, because Thor, his ult, puts down that ward. He calls down. He calls the Bifrost down, right? Yeah. And that's like a cool thing because you can actually set that up to be a healing ward, and like anyone within that ward is getting healed. So that's like a cool way to use that, and can be super effective in certain situations. But anyway, her ult, basically she throws Mjolnir, and Mjolnir becomes sentient and starts flying around.
So it's Hawkeye's ult.
Yep, a lot like Hawkeye's ult. But then she summons, I don't know a ton about Jane Foster's character, but apparently in the end of the Mighty Thor run, she becomes a Valkyrie, and she gets something, I want to say they called it the All Weapon or something like that. Anyway, it's a hammer. It's a hammer, and so but it's gold or something, and so she whips that thing out, and that's what and then so essentially you can attack like normal. I think maybe your attacks are a little bit stronger, and then Mjolnir just kind of flies around and does its thing. They showed off like you can actually, in one of the skill adjustments, you can have Mjolnir circle around you almost like defensively. Which was kind of cool. So I like her ult better than Thor. That's like
sounds neat.
That's the one thing I've never liked about Thor is his ult. Like I've come to know how to use it, but it's all like I never use it like it's supposed to be used. So, I hope when we play the character, it comes out tomorrow. I hope I feel differently, but just watching the war table, which should be the most detailed information I'm going to get. I just was not filled with confidence. So,
well, it's a bad look because, like, even if it sounds like she's gonna be pretty similar, but there probably will be some significant differences. But regardless, the fact that it is essentially an Echo Fighter that we've got after such a long drought, because it's been nearly a year since the last character came out, and I'm not counting Spider-Man because he was only on PlayStation.
Okay, I was about to say, thank God for Spider-Man, because if not for Spider-Man,
it was August that we got BP.
Yeah, well, like what I was going to say was we had 2 Echo Fighters and then Black Panther, and if you're not counting Spider-Man, then now we have another Echo Fighter.
And I don't personally consider Hawkeye and Kate Bishop Echo Fighters.
I know, but that's how it was viewed at the time.
But now it's like based on what you're saying, it sounds like she is basically an Echo Fighter of Thor, because Hawkeye and Kate, literally their only similarity was that they both had a bow and a sword. They used them completely differently.
Yeah,
and they had completely different heroics, completely different arrow types. Like it was they were completely different characters.
See, and now that I'm sitting here thinking about it, they didn't really. I don't remember them talking about her heroics. They talked about her intrinsic and how it functioned a little bit differently. But honestly, like watching the gameplay, I could not tell the difference of what her intrinsic was doing differently.
Yeah.
But now that I'm sitting here thinking about it, I don't know that they really talked
I
about her
heard that she had.
heroics.
One thing I saw was a comment. Someone on Facebook said that she has God Blast, which is like for her assault heroic, I think is what it's called, and that's Thor's assault heroic.
Yeah. Yes.
Um,
Yes. That was one.
that's
Um,
bad.
yeah. Yeah. I don't. It was the if Hawkeye and Kate were thought to be echoes, then this is for sure an echo. And
Yes.
honestly, it makes those two look better, in my opinion. But anyway,
Yes.
it comes out to my. So here's the one thing I will say for this: this isn't tied to some big expansion, right? There's not. There is a mission thread. She has her own hero card or whatever.
Mhm.
So like she's not going to take up a lot of I don't know what it's not going to be a whole song and dance to
Right.
get her in. I think she's going to function a lot like Spider-Man did,
Spider-Man. Yeah.
which I think is
With a
perfect.
hero like this, that's what you should do.
That's exactly what we needed for this character.
Right.
And honestly, again, I hope they keep this going with this. I hope we get a big expansion and then several small heroes like this.
Mhm.
Honestly, like I do think a good cadence. If it's frustrating that they were so focused almost on these echo fighters, if you want to call them that, early on, because I do think a good cadence would have been here's an expansion with Black Panther, Captain Marvel, Doctor Strange, like big heroes, and then like sprinkled in, maybe even only one a year. I mean, hell, that'd be better than what we're dealing with now. But like, let's say once a year we get an Echo Fighter, and so
Right.
like Hawkeye would have been a great. And I guess this is kind of what they did, but they split it across 2 expansions. Like if we had gotten Kate Bishop with the expansion, her expansion, and then just at the end of the expansion, maybe we save Hawkeye, which I guess we did.
Yeah.
But then like a couple months later, just boom, here you go. Here's Hawkeye. Like just drop
That's
him
what
like they did Spider-Man. But I know, but they made it a whole expansion.
Gotcha.
You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
if they had just boom, here's Hawkeye, and then the next expansion, maybe we introduce Doctor Strange. Maybe he's like, oh, what's up with all these time anomalies? I'm showing up to the party, and then we launch Spider-Man as his not Echo, but just kind of a free hero to give. Like
Right.
I don't know, some sort of cadence like that would have been nice, but
So
I don't
you're
know.
saying like maybe the expansions be the story setup and characters that will be released in subsequent months play a part in that expansion, but when they are released, it's not a story event. It's just kind of like the continuation of the event set up by the expansion.
Kind of, yeah. Basically, what I'm saying is they spent way too much time and effort on the expansions when we just needed heroes.
Right.
And like, sure, we needed the expansion content too, but getting a new hero, I mean, that puts instant life into the game because people are that gives you a reason to replay the content that you've been replaying already, because now you have a new hero to play it, like to play it for.
Right.
And so I just think if we had just dropped heroes faster and not worried about having an expansion attached to them, which seems to be what they're kind of committing to here between Spider-Man and now Mighty Thor, I just hope that's more of the cadence we're going to see in the future.
I think a lot of it is just, I mean, this game has been victim of the worst timing events of any game I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Also, chat, we are seeing you. It's just we're in heated discussion, not heated, but
heated discussion and heated battle. So
yes, but we're seeing you. But I think that's kind of what they're going for now, and I think the splitting things between Hawkeye and Kate was a victim of enough development in them being invested before the game even launched, and so they were kind of committed to that method.
Yeah,
and then I think they realized that, and ask anyone who played Marvel's Avengers, and doesn't hate on it just for the meme, they would say that the thing it needs the most is more regularly released characters.
Yeah.
And I think they probably realized that, and changed it to more of the method of your Spider-Man and your Jane Foster. But the problem with that is that, like I said, every 6 months, right? For that to be your release system for any new content, and the rest of it is just, and that's not fair because they have done significant updates, but like,
right.
It's just unfortunate for them because I'm like very, very confident that they had a plan. They even going into this year, they had a roadmap that they wanted to do back up and heal. But then this whole thing with Embracer happened, and behind the scenes, before that was announced, they basically had to say, "Hey, remember that roadmap we promised you? That's not coming," and they couldn't say why. And now that this whole thing has happened, people are still pissed about the whole, well, you never gave us the roadmap thing. But to my knowledge, they never connected the dots saying, yeah, this is why the roadmap didn't happen, because our development was forced to change completely because we got bought out.
Yeah, I hadn't thought about that.
It really sucks for them.
Yeah.
Because I do believe in the stuff that they make. And if they would just get some backing that actually believes in them as much as the few fans do, then we might actually be able to get the Avengers game that everybody wants. But people are just sidelining and complaining about everything and not really looking at the full context. And the full context just, it sucks, but you got to take it for what it is, I guess.
Well, and that's what it's, and like you said, it's unfortunate circumstances all the way around. But I think what I hope they are seeing and starting to figure out is that, hey, we can launch a new hero virtually unattached to anything, any expansion. And that's gonna be a shot of adrenaline into the game immediately.
Yep.
And I would think, especially with some of these being what we're counting as kind of echo fighters. Again, I'm sure it's a lot more complicated than all of that, but just the idea that it's a similar character, they're doing similar attacks. That's got to simplify the process to some degree.
Absolutely.
I would think. So what I'm trying to say is, like, hopefully they've figured out, hey, we don't have to attach every hero to a big expansion.
Right.
We just need to get content out, whether that's new hero here, new hero there. Maybe honestly, like the Destiny's cadence of like one big expansion every year and a half or so. And then Destiny does seasons. And I'm not necessarily saying Avengers should do seasons, but like where you would normally launch a new season, maybe that's where we do a shadow drop hero.
Like a 3-month focus.
Yes.
Sorts.
Yeah. But I don't know. And I do think that's kind of unrealistic to expect to have a new character, 3 times a year. So even just, I think realistically, just like, here's a hero with the year expansion, and it's going to really be a big push on their story. And then here's just the new hero of the year that we get at some point,
Launch him at the bunny so you can mount the bunny.
Yep. I can't wait to mount the bunny.
I didn't like that. Another thing though, and this is speculation. And I agree, Courtney. Content is very important, and that is another thing. Like we still haven't gotten content that was supposed to come out last year, like a year ago.
Right.
To this, like the patrol missions. People were so excited for that, and we haven't heard a peep about that since they announced it. And so there is a content drought as well. But they've been spending this past year kind of in maintenance mode to where they've been correcting the foundation of the game. But then again, this whole thing with Embracer happens, and it's just like, are you kidding me? We've just been spending this past year setting ourselves up to come back strong with new content in a game that's been revitalized, but now we don't know if that's going to happen. But the timing of the Jane Foster thing makes me wonder how much of this was Marvel saying, hey, can you do this thing? Because it seems very odd to me for them to be so tone deaf to make a Jane Foster character in the situation they're in, and also the timing being the way it is. Because like you said, it should not take this much time and effort to make a character that shares a lot of the same stats and moves and possibly animations. Sound design is largely like so much of the heavy lifting has already been done.
Mm-hmm.
And for it to take this long,
Mm-hmm.
it just reeks to me of Marvel said do this, and you can't release it till June. Till it's time for Jane Foster to be topical.
So just to be totally transparent, and I don't think you're saying this, but just to be clear, I don't think Marvel said, "Hey, whatever hero you're working on, scrap it. We need you to have Mighty Thor ready by whatever." I'm sure they came in, and I can guarantee you that Marvel said, "Hey, any chance you could launch Mighty Thor to coincide with the launch of Love and Thunder?" And I don't know how much time they would have given them on that, which may speak to why her character is even more of an Echo fighter than anyone else's. Like that totally happened, but I don't think that. I'm sure it disrupted whatever they were working on, but I don't think Mighty Thor is what they've been working on for the last year.
It's not.
Like I could see maybe a small team was putting it together, kind of getting the groundwork laid for it, and then in the last 6 months or so, a significant amount doubled in to really knock it out. But yeah, I don't know. That's it. So anyway, she comes out tomorrow. Obviously free to play the game's not free to play, but it's not. You don't have to buy her or anything. So that's really nice.
She can't be bought.
Hang on.
Hi, stream. Sorry, Jake's gotta come kill a spider.
Oh, okay. I have to kill a spider. Steven, why don't you start talking about Fire Emblem?
I'll wait. I'll wait for you.
Okay. Well, then you're gonna wait for me.
I'll wait for you. Go kill a spider.
I'm gonna go kill a spider.
What also comes out? Well, actually, you know what? I'll take this time to read the chat. So the Green Lantern movie, the Ryan Reynolds adaptation, gonna be honest, it doesn't deserve quite the hate that it has. It's a meme at this point, and I didn't think it was that bad. I thought a lot of the casting decisions were really good. Like Michael Clark Duncan as Kilowog, fantastic choice. I just wish they had used him more. I thought Ryan Reynolds as Hal Jordan at the point he was in his career, that was a fantastic choice. And I think he did a very good Hal Jordan. They just, I don't know. Like, I think there just wasn't enough Green Lanterning, and their choice in villain was bad.
This Green Lantern movie doesn't have enough Green Lanterning.
Too much green, not enough lantern.
Too much green, not enough lantern. Now, what do you mean by that, Steven? Do you mean like the actual use of power? Because I was just about to say it had more of the Green Lantern core than I would have expected it to have.
Right, but I'm talking like it almost felt like it wasn't given the CGI budget that it needed, and so whenever it was doing the Green Lantern stuff, it was struggling to do the stuff that it actually did. If that makes sense. So it felt like maybe not that there wasn't enough Green Lanterning, but they needed to more appropriately assess how they implemented it. But I thought the movie was okay. And actually, I owe that movie a little bit to being married to Anna today. I'm not going to explain how. Ask me sometime. It's a funny story.
The Green Lantern movie?
The Green Lantern movie, yes. But speaking of coming out tomorrow, did you check the Meowcenaries, by the way?
I did. I received items, but they still hadn't killed the thing I was after. So
okay, I'm glad you remembered that's what you were.
Yes.
Doing. Okay, go ahead and post the next thing. Outriders World Slayer comes out tomorrow.
Oh, fuck yeah. I totally forgot about
that. Have you pre-ordered it yet?
No.
Well, it's 48-hour early access for people who pre-order it. So
gotcha.
You can go ahead and do that. Jeremy and I are planning on streaming it tomorrow night, apparently. You don't have to join us for that, but you can. I know the streaming is going to be kind of weird this week, so don't push yourself to do stuff you can't. But I did watch a review for it today. Skill Up did a review for World Slayer. And essentially what he said was it's a lot more Outriders, but it doesn't try to do anything new, which is what we were all expecting. So if you like the Outriders formula, you'll like this.
Too much out, not enough riders.
Too much riding, not enough out, actually.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. I would think out would be like doing something different, out of the box.
I guess that makes sense. Yeah. Well, that's funny because we actually posted some content this week, today, in fact,
yes,
about Outriders and how you can get started. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, it's a good video. Probably one of my worst scripts, but Jake did an excellent edit to make it comprehensive.
I was about to say, I think I would not have said that of the script, but given that that's how you feel, I feel like the final product ended up very tight. So
yeah, it was good.
I do my best work when people just give me a lot, and I take the words that you give and I condense.
You're a real good fit for me then.
This is why we work so well together.
Yeah. I hope you like it, Courtney. I enjoyed making that video. I think it turned out really good. But yeah, Jeremy and I will probably be playing some Outriders World Slayer tomorrow. Come check that out. But what I have been playing over the weekend is Fire Emblem Warriors 3 Hopes.
When did this come out? Fire Emblem Warriors 3 Hopes.
Friday.
Wow. Okay. I feel like I have been out of the video game loop.
Yeah.
Like big time.
It kind of released without any kind of fanfare. It just kind of dropped.
Yeah.
The reviews came out for it, and I feel like it got really good reviews.
Well, that's good.
And I was a little worried with when I played the demo. I'm just going to go straight into talking about it.
Go for it.
I was a little worried when playing the demo, which I do recommend playing the demo. But the thing about Three Houses, the traditional Fire Emblem game that this one is based on.
What a good game!
It was so
what
good.
A good freaking game. Jeez.
One of the things that was so compelling about it was that not only was it a good turn-based strategy game, but it also had the school element where you would go around and interact with the students, and you could kind of metagame a little bit with your cast to where you could recruit other students to join your house. You could pick how they train and specialize in. You could go on tea dates with them. It was very character focused, and the going around Garreg Mach stuff was just such a satisfying loop of just managing your cast. And it was really cool getting to see them grow in, like, seeing Ash go from a fighter to an assassin or a sniper or bow knight, whatever you chose for his path to be. Like, it was just cool getting to make those decisions and grow the characters. It was like playing an RPG where you pick characters' abilities and classes and everything, but doing that for a literal small army.
Yeah. So good.
Yeah, I did not mean to go full ASMR mode with that video. I noticed that my voice was more bassy and rumbly than normal, and that's because that mic is what we use for the podcast at my church, and I did not EQ it.
Yeah. Once I heard it again, I like really started getting into it. I was like, oh, I should have told him to like turn down the gain on that mic specifically, because I think that's playing into it too. But
it was the lows. That was the problem, was that the low end had too much. So if I had taken away from the lows, that would have helped, because my voice is naturally low when I'm talking like that.
Yeah.
But I know that for next time.
We do.
But anyway, so Three Hopes in the demo, like so the whole premise of the game is that in Three Houses you play as Byleth, who is the son of a renowned mercenary and also himself a mercenary, who is basically the chosen avatar for a god named Sothis. And you end up becoming the professor of one of the three houses of students that are one of the three countries basically represented by the houses Golden Deer, Blue Lions, and I was trying to think of a defamatory name to call the Black Eagles, but I'm sorry, I was reading chat. But anyway, so you play as Byleth, training these houses, and for the first half of the game, you're not even at war. The story is slowly building for there to be a time skip in which, when the time skip happens, everyone is locked into their convictions. So anyone who you did not choose to recruit in the first half, they're gonna die because you're at war in the second half, and it's too late to convince people to join your cause. Which I really like that.
It's not. There are some people you can recruit later, but it's rare and hard.
Well, and those are probably like story events, less rather than like going through the recruiting process.
Yes, that's true. That's true.
Like Rodrigue with the Blue Lions. But anyway, so that's the whole gist of Fire Emblem Three Houses, is that the first half is it has an emphasis on building up these characters to kind of pick their paths and recruiting them and getting to know them. And the second half is dealing with the consequences of the story in the first half and your decisions of who to recruit and who not to recruit.
Yep.
And so Three Hopes, and I think they did this with the second Hyrule Warriors game, but Three Hopes is retread of Three Houses, but as it's as if one key event changed early in the timeline, so the entire timeline changed. And that timeline change being Byleth never joined Garreg Mach. You don't play as Byleth in this. You play as a mercenary whose name I forget. You gave him a name, so I forgot what his default name is. We'll just call him the player. So the player is a mercenary who is working with just a random group of mercenaries that are kind of his friends, but also there's kind of his coworkers. And the very first level, you go up against Geralt's mercenaries. So Byleth's group.
Yep.
And Byleth brutally murders every single person in your company. And Byleth is even called the Ashen Demon. And so Byleth nearly kills you, but then, of course, something awakens within the player where he has an entity within him as well. This entity gives him this sword that only he can hold, because whenever he lets go of it, it disappears. And it also gives him like some form of teleportation powers. It's very vague anime main character powers, basically.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
So shortly after that, the player is kind of trying to tail the Ashen Demon, Geralt's mercenaries, because his purpose is basic at this point is, I want to get revenge on the guy who killed my team. And this is level 1. This is the first chapter.
I don't want to derail too much, but is Byleth still the avatar of
Sothis? Yes.
Sothis? Interesting.
Yes. Austin, so bows, in world, I think in this I know for sure all bows are the same range, but what affects the range is an armor skill called ballistics. That's for all ranged weapons, to where the more points you have in ballistics, the longer all ranged weapons reach. That is how it is in Rise. I don't know if that's how it is in World or not. But anyway, ride the monster.
I'm working on it.
Okay. But anyway, so the player trying to catch up with Geralt's crew finds himself in the woods and finds 3 people being pursued by bandits. Guess who they are? It is the representatives of the 3 houses, Claude, Dimitri, and I almost said something I shouldn't have.
Edelgard.
It's Edelgard. The Queen Witch herself.
The Queen Witch herself.
And so you end up helping them fight their way through the bandits, and you get enrolled as a student in Garrick Mach.
Oh, as a student, interesting.
As a student. Byleth and Geralt never come.
Interesting.
I don't know if it's because they never cross paths with the house leaders. Like maybe their path was diverted from everything that happened with the player character or whatever. But yeah, that never happens. So you are at the monastery as the player character for maybe one chapter, maybe 2 chapters.
Mm-hmm.
You pick your house and you're locked. I picked Blue Lions because,
of course,
even though Claude is my favorite of the leaders by far, I do like Dimitri's arc a lot, and the Blue House roster is just so solid.
Yeah.
Like there's not a single bad one in the bunch. And so I went Blue Lions because
you're bringing so much back to me right now. Like I really just want to play this game over again.
I've been thinking about going back to Three Houses, but Three Hopes. I started this whole thing by saying,
catch your breath.
I started this whole thing by saying that I was worried at first, and I'm getting to why I was worried. But as soon as you complete, like, I'm pretty sure it's your first chapter being a student in Garrick Mach, depending what house you pick, there is a crucial story event that results in your house leader being like, this changes everything. I have to leave Garrick Mach. So Dimitri, for example, if I remember correctly, because I played the demo a while ago, so this isn't as fresh, but he ends up having to kill his own uncle because his uncle's trying to revolt in the kingdom or something like that. So Dimitri ends up having to ascend to the throne earlier than intended. And so he's like, I no longer can participate in the officer academy. I have to go be king. So Dimitri hires the player as one of his mercenaries. And then chapter 3 begins with the 2-year time skip.
Wow.
Which is where the halfway point was of Three Houses.
Right.
So the entirety of Three Hopes is at wartime, basically. So it lacks and this is what was concerning to me, it lacks the monastery element. You don't go to Garrick Mach like roaming around. You have a war camp instead. That being said, the war camp, whereas Garrick Mach was just kind of like, as you played, things would become open to you. The war camp, you choose what is upgraded. So you get materials for your war effort, and you may choose to use those materials to upgrade the training camp so you can train more people at once, or maybe to have better stuff at the blacksmith. There's a lot more depth to the phase between battles.
Right.
But it doesn't have as much of that personal feel as Garrick Mach did. Like, it's not as wholesome, I guess. And it's all wartime, so it feels like it's a different vibe, but it's the same characters.
Yeah.
And it's very interesting seeing how the timeline is completely different, because you know how much, I don't know how much of this you saw because you played Golden Deer. Felix absolutely despises Dimitri to the point where he just calls him the boar.
Yes.
In this, they have a really interesting dynamic to where normally, like in Three Houses, it was very much like they were rivals, and Felix just kind of always had that chip on his shoulder against Dimitri. But in this,
he was the redhead who was the ladies' man, right?
That's Sylvain.
Okay.
He was the Cavalier. Felix is the guy who looks like an anime bro, who's got the ponytail and the pale skin.
Swordsman.
Yes.
Yep. He was on my crew.
Oh yeah, Felix is one of the best characters. But in this game, Dimitri basically chooses Felix as his right hand.
Oh, that's cool.
So you see a lot more of their dynamic play out, even at one point to where Dimitri, which also, because the timeline happens differently, Dimitri isn't punished Dimitri, as people call him, where he, has the eye patch and he's basically trying to get himself killed constantly. That's not the Dimitri we're dealing with. He's completely different. So we get to see him operating as king, and we get to see how he interacts with his crew that works under him, basically. So like, he takes everything under like on his shoulders, and he blames himself. He's like, I'm the guy that had to cut down my uncle to ascend to the throne. And so he's like, I have to do it myself, which is still very Dimitri. But at one point, Felix eventually snaps at him. He's just like, okay, I can't anymore. You need to shut the hell up. Like, and he has this really good moment with him where he's just like, look, I know you're a stupid boar who just charges headlong into battle all the time and thinks that he's the only one responsible for all this, but we're still here. We haven't left you. We're here for a reason, and you need to start utilizing us. And so it's really cool. It's kind of like the whole relationship between Naruto and Sasuke in the anime Naruto, right, and how Naruto's always like, you're my friend, but they spend 98% of the time together literally hating each other. It's like going from watching Naruto to watching Fairy Tail, where the two main characters, Natsu and Gray, are actual like best friends, but they still constantly challenge each other, and it's very refreshing. But anyway,
I was going to say it's like going from Ash and Gary to like Ash and Go now. Because like rivals in Pokemon used to be like, yo, what's up, you punk ass bitch with stupid little Pokemon? You think you can take me, you little bitch? And now they're like, hey, we're rivals, we're friends. Let's encourage each other through competition. That's what they're like now.
Yes. I'm gonna have to get some water here in a second, but
so the story sounds really interesting. I'm giving you an excuse to take a sip of water, by the way.
I'll have to actually get some. Hold on.
Okay, all right. The story sounds really interesting, but I want to hear about the gameplay, because even as Steven's talking, I'm sitting here itching. I'm like, man, what a great time Three Houses was. Like, I'm remembering character moments that I enjoyed. I'm kind of spacing here a little bit. I enjoyed so many character moments. Like, so I understand the story, but what's the gameplay like? Because I have, as much as I enjoyed Three Houses, and again, you're giving me some intriguing story beats here, but like, I just don't like. I've decided I don't love the Warriors format. I was super excited about the Breath of the Wild Warriors game that was kind of a alternate timeline for Breath of the Wild. I never finished it. I still have it. I probably should try to finish it, but I just kind of lost interest really quick with the gameplay style. So what's the gameplay like? Is it just typical run of the mill Warriors, or what's the story there?
The Warriors games have always been kind of a guilty pleasure of mine, to where it's a fun hack and slash. I grew up playing Samurai Warriors 2 Empires, which like whenever I play a Warriors game, because of the Empires games, I've come to expect a mix of tactical with my hack and slash, just enough to where I can control the flow of the battlefield a lot more.
I like a little tack with my slash.
Okay. This gonna be honest. This might have more character progression depth than Three Houses does.
Wow.
Yeah. Because like the basic gameplay, like just when you get right down to it, it's a Warriors game. You've got your heavy attack, your regular attack, and you throw in some heavy attacks depending on how many times you press the light attack button to do your different combos. You've got the ultimate, all that jazz. But they throw in a bunch of interesting things, like when you just use your regular heavy, like let's say Y is the button that you use to attack, and X is the button you use to throw in a special attack. The special attack is different based on your class. So bow characters like Archer, Sniper, their special is that they can charge up a volley that you can ground target. Whereas the Myrmidon, the sword characters, can charge up a spin attack. So classes add different mechanics to the combat, but also characters have unique aspects as well. Similar to how, like, using Felix again as an example, I'll use Felix and Ash. Felix in Fire Emblem Three Houses, his whole thing was that, like, if he didn't have a battalion with him, he was better.
Right.
Because he had that whole lone wolf thing about him. He has that in this as well, but also his character ability is that if he dodges shortly after doing an attack or in the middle of attack, his speed goes up a ton. So he has kind of like that after image look to where he's very good about navigating a battle, attack, dodge, and then like relocating, hitting faster, all that kind of stuff. And that's regardless of his class.
Mm-hmm.
So you can figure out how that combos with, I'm trying to break your, really?
Wow. He just took my lunch.
I don't know why it wouldn't break your stun. I was shooting you.
Mm-hmm.
Just hang back for this fight. Actually take this time to explore this map and pick up mining outcrops and stuff.
All right.
And I'll kill him and then we can try to get you some armor when we get back to base. So using Ash as an example, Ash in Three Houses had the ability to pick locks regardless of class. He has that here too, but his R2 ability, which is reserved for like a character ability, is that he can ground target a basic wind spell, and regardless of his class. So the characters, like when you're picking who do I want to be my archer, who do I want to be my cavalier, my healer, all that stuff, that is dependent as well on the characters. So like, trying to think of another example of this. Ignatz, the guy from Golden Deer with the green hair who loves to paint.
Yep.
He has this, his whole character ability is that I don't know what exactly triggers it because I just unlocked him, which I'll talk more about unlocking characters here in a minute, because that was a concern of mine. His thing is that throughout combat, he has the ability to basically Splatoon style paint the ground. And depending on the color of the paint, he does elemental damage in that area.
Interesting.
So, yeah, it's odd, but it's cool. It's a very effective little thing. So I decided that for him, he's kind of built to be an archer, but at the same time, I'm over here like, clearly he needs to do some magic stuff. So I'm training him as magic characters on the side, but also I'm going to keep him a bow class, and his weapon is a magic bow. So his weapon damage is based on his magic stat rather than his dex or strength. So he is a magic dealing archer that is able to create elemental damage fields. Like, and this is all done through active combat as well. So it's a lot more interesting than, well, depending on, I love a good turn-based strategy game, but with this, it's very cool seeing the same mental processes that I had with Three Houses of like, how is this character going to synergize with this thing that I want to do, but bringing that into a hack and slash game. Right. And it totally works. Regarding how much tactical element there is, you can command every single character. Side missions, you can have 4 characters, all of which you can play as. Story missions are 8. You can play as 4 of them. You can give all the characters commands. So Mercedes is my healer. So if I ever have a mission that is, don't let this NPC die, I can tell Mercedes to guard them. And if I notice their health starts to dip, I can go to the battle map and I can tell her specifically to heal him.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool.
So like there's a lot of control in how you handle commands.
See, like in some of the warrior games that I've played, it's usually just, hey, go to this area. And like I would sometimes send somebody one place and then just eventually take over them when I needed to go there next. And just kind of would use that almost as a fast travel system. But that's cool that you can tactically tell them like, hey, go here, heal him.
Yeah.
That's nice.
So in this, it's you can tell them, like, if I send in Sylvain to go attack a base, I can give him the command to attack the base commander. So his goal is, I'm going to attack this base and take it over. But if I don't think he can handle it by himself and I want him to have a little bit of protection, I could take Annette and tell her to guard Sylvain. So she will accompany him in his quest. Or I could make her an adjunct of him, kind of like in Three Houses, to where, why am I attacking the Tetranodon? I need to attack this one. I can make him her an adjuvant to where she is kind of a shadow of him, to where she basically supports him on the sideline and occasionally coming into attacks and stuff. So there's a lot of options in how to do these things, but what was I going to say? Flynn, you distracted me.
How dare you, Flynn?
I don't know. It works really well, because I don't want to say it's easy, because like it's easier than the first Hyrule Warriors, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's a lot less bull crap, especially since you're able to customize characters and upgrade weapons at your leisure and train characters at your leisure. Like and this isn't a brag, this is just, I think this speaks well to the game a little bit. I haven't died yet. Like once. I have failed side objectives.
Right.
But as far as like falling in battle, I haven't yet. But I feel a lot of that is owed to a lot of front end planning of like building up characters to be prepared for certain situations. There's a lot of character micromanagement. I did not expect any game like this to exceed that of Three Houses, but it really does feel like it exceeds Three Houses in that realm. Not so much to the effect of like classes are weapon locked,
right?
Whereas magic classes in Three Houses could equip physical weapons, and because magic was a skill, not a weapon.
Right.
Like they didn't equip tomes. In this, that is not the case. Magic characters use tomes. If archer characters use bows, assassins can't use swords and bows. They use swords, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And you can tell move sets are largely class based, to where like a mercenary and a myrmidon are going to fight very similar in their move sets, with a few things being different maybe.
Right.
But a lot of it comes in the side of like training up characters to be able to do multiple things. Like Setith, Flame's brother, the dude with the green hair that was a wyvern lord or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
He has a crest and a crest weapon. Why do I keep hunting the Tetranodon? I keep getting sidetracked. Flynn, hush. But he has perks that make him actually make a good light magic user. But he's naturally a cavalier. And so I had to do some thinking on it. But there is a class that's like the Holy Knight, I think is what it's called. They are a mounted class that uses spears, but they're also able to use light magic. So Setith, I'm making him a Holy Knight, but I'm training him as a bishop and a light mage on the side in camp so that he can get their abilities, like their passive abilities.
Yeah.
And also learn their spells. There's a lot of stuff that goes into the game, and it makes it to where, like, normally, hack and slash warrior type games are just a fun guilty pleasure where it's like turn your brain off. But this adds a lot of that rewarding thinking ahead of time to make the warriors template a lot more refreshing. Because like right now I'm building Ash, for example. I thought he was going to be my sniper, but that's actually Ignatz now because he's my magic based sniper. And Ash, I'm turning him into a trickster so that he can be a quick sword fighter that uses wind magic, since wind is a synergy of his.
Yep, that would be a good fit.
So it's cool. Like it would have been so easy for them to just be like, let's do the Fire Emblem Warriors thing again,
right?
And just put these characters in there. But this feels like they really sat down and thought about how they could make this feel a ton like Three Houses, but as a Warriors game, because it all feels like it works really well. Like if you played this and didn't know what Three Houses was, you wouldn't think it was based on another game.
Wow, that's cool.
So the story has been interesting. Like I said, it's been very different. One thing that I will say is a downside of the story, I guess. Like to an extent, it's a downside if you're expecting Three Houses where like, you know, the cast of characters was almost overwhelming because, you know, they were all so likable. You wanted to recruit all of them. You can't do that in this game to the point where like you just pick, I'm going to recruit them. So I don't know how this works because again, I've only played Blue Lions so far, and I think I just started part 2. I don't know if that's 2 of 2 or 2 of 3 or whatever. But when you do a story mission, occasionally a character will be a part of that story mission, and you can implement a strategy. It's kind of like an overworld thing to where like there's side quests, and you do the side quests to encroach closer to the story quest.
Right.
So it's like you're gaining footing on a battlefield almost, I guess. But there's side content you can do on the way to the story quests. And one of the rewards you can get for doing the side stuff is what's called like strategy points. And when you go to the story quest, you can implement strategies to give yourself an advantage in that mission. And one of those strategies, if there is a character that plays a role in that mission that you don't have, you can implement a strategy to try to recruit them. I did not know that when I played the first story mission that allowed that to happen. So I killed Petra from the Black Eagles, and now she's gone.
She's like the only good one.
I know. That's why I'm so heartbroken about it.
Steven.
I know.
She's got the sweet accent and everything.
I regret that. But so like it feels more on rails, but in a way it also kind of makes it to where they make better use of the cast. Like to me, for example, if I played through Three Houses with all of the characters recruited, the story would not be as compelling.
Right.
Because when I played through the first time as Blue Lions, I didn't know when the cutoff point was, so I never got to recruit Caspar, who is the other good one from Black Eagles. And he showed up in the story, and he ended up just becoming like a merc for this random guy who ended up being in my way, and I had to kill him. And that was very compelling because it was I didn't know he was going to be there. You know, I got to see how these other characters, their stories fit into the grander picture. And so in this game, it doesn't give you the option of just like saving everyone you like. You see how they got affected by the time skip and where they ended up. And you can still recruit them, but their place in the story still has that initial like, oh, this is what they're up to, you know, rather than just being a part of your massive army. And I like that. I think that's a good fit. I just wish there was more control. Like, I wish characters were more frequent to recruit, because there are some characters that I know I want, but I don't know when I'm going to get them. In the story where I am, the Leicester Alliance just made an agreement with the Kingdom of Fargus to go against the Empire together. So I just unlocked like 5 Golden Deer characters at the same time. Claude was not one of them, unfortunately. But I don't know. It's if you like Three Houses for the characters and for the story, it's kind of crazy the approach that this game is taking. But because when I saw the Hyrule Warriors 2 thing and how it was kind of a different timeline and whatever, I was like, this seems kind of lame.
Right.
This is not lame. Like it's something completely new.
Yeah.
To where I feel like I'm a little bit on like the I'm a bit on the up and up of what characters are going through and what plot points are there because I played Three Houses. But at the same time, it's a completely different story. I don't know what Byleth's up to. My character still, which they could have so easily made it to where like my character just has a absolute unwavering vendetta to kill Byleth, but that actually ends up going away pretty quickly to the point where he's just like, I don't really feel the unrelenting drive to kill him. I just need to surpass him. And so there's kind of an unspoken rivalry between you and Byleth, but Byleth at the same time is just kind of a C plot going on to where like I've faced him like maybe twice.
Right.
And I don't know. It's completely different. It is a completely different game from Three Houses, but it's the same characters, a very similar class system and ability system, but fleshed out even more to where you feel like you can take more liberties with your characters to an extent. I don't know. It's really cool. And it's co-op.
You gotta love it. I do like
it's wild.
I just don't find as much enjoyment in the Warriors formula, like I said. But I think what does make it better is co-op. Like playing with someone else through it is a lot more fun. That's what Brody and I tore up the first Hyrule Warriors game. We freaking ate up every bit of content for that.
And I remember that one specifically. It ended up becoming too much about doing challenges. So feeling like
there was a story, and then every other piece of supplemental content was just, hey, go to this map that you've already fought in for story context, which you've probably fought in that map multiple times for story context. But just here's do this objective, and so
So a lot of the content in the first Hyrule Warriors, as far as I remember, I played it on 3DS. Which it was good. I enjoyed it, but I remember it ending up feeling very gimmicky with a lot of its content, because it was like, do this mission, but you can't dodge, or you can only use special attacks, or something like that, to where it very much felt like a game for completionists.
Right. Yeah.
Rather than just kind of letting you play the game. There's some of that in certain missions in Three Hopes, but the majority of it is just you're playing the game and you're growing your characters. And the support conversations are still there. And the characters, it's very strange, especially in Sylvain. He's different. Like, because, in Three Houses, he kind of had this cynical look towards people, to where the reason he was so flirty with people was to kind of push them away, or because he judged, like, he hates women. Like they're like, I don't remember what exactly it was, but they're like, they made his flirtatious quirk compelling character arc. In this, that hasn't really been a thing. But because the events that have happened are different, it makes sense. And Sylvain's more of a serious person, to where like there's a support conversation between Sylvain and the main character, where he's just asking you how your powers work. Like, he's like, tell me about that weapon of yours. And your guy's like, it appears when I need it to. It disappears when I let go. And so Sylvain's just like trying to think through how it works, so that it could maybe be used in their favor, to where like other people could use it, something like that. Which I feel like was not a thing that he would have done in the first game. He's completely different, but like he's still the same guy, but you can just tell that he's been changed because his very key 2 years was different.
Right.
It's weird. It's so weird, but I love it.
Makes me feel like a shitty teacher. You know what I mean? All these people are having better lives if I never walked into it. It's like, dang, okay, well, here I thought I was doing some good, training up the youths. Well, cool. Well, I can't wait to hear more about it as you keep playing it, and hopefully it's a good time. I may have to check it out at some point.
Yeah.
The other thing,
I recommend the demo at least.
Yeah, that's the thing. I'm so glad they have a demo. I need to just try that on for size.
And progress transfers, like all good demos do. Like
all good demos should. Steven, we also wanted to talk a little bit about the TMNT game we played this weekend. We beat it, so I feel like we have full maybe not full context of like what's there, but
just a minute. Okay, now keep going. I took a sip of water.
Yeah, just keep interrupting me with that. That'll make it more immersive. So we played it on stream with Jeremy, Big Jeremy. We had a great time. It was just a lot of just really good fun. It wasn't necessarily like the funniest stream we've ever done or anything like that, but we were having a good time, and that was honestly more than I just, that's all I really wanted out of it. I just wanted to have a good time, hang out with you guys, and TMNT was the perfect thing for that. The gameplay was simple. Each character kind of has their own special, but like I think largely the controls are the same.
Yeah.
The story, like I'm not the biggest TMNT fan, but like it's kind of a cute little narrative that's happening. Definitely the villains are very funny. And again, not knowing anything about the world or about the lore, I guess, if you want to say that, or just any context for the characters, I was having a big time just like, who's this Mothman? Like, what is this happening? It was a good fun. It just way too short. Like, and that's coming from somebody who, like, I like shorter games. And like, honestly, if this had been a thing that I was just gonna play solo, I might feel differently. But like, we did that stream, and like, granted, I'm glad we did. Like, I'm glad we were able to finish it,
Right.
and that's something we kind of have that whole experience bottled up right there. But at the same time, like, we're done. Like, we may on a desperate night, go back and do that as a, let's just go back to TMNT. We had fun doing that. Like, let's just do some arcade. Like, we may have that. But like, that's not going to be something that we're like, yo, we got to get back to TMNT. Like, we got to do this. Like, that's just not. I don't know. That's not going to happen. So, I hate that. But I mean, the game itself, what was there, is really good content and a lot of fun with friends, especially. So,
yeah, I think that those kinds of games, people that play them are used to that.
Mm-hmm.
To where it's just a quick experience that people play repeatedly to get better scores, or just because the gameplay loop is enjoyable. Like, I feel like it was short for the kind of game that it is, but not drastically shorter, I feel.
Right. Well, see, that's the thing. Like, I think it's missing like 2 hours. We beat the whole thing in about 2 hours, just give or take a couple minutes. And again, honestly, if we had been, I don't know, we weren't even really trying, and we beat it in 2 hours. You know what I mean? Like, it's I do wish that it had a little bit more time. But but you're right. That's what this style of game is like. So they did exactly what they needed to. And again, what's there is really good. So
it's a very tight, solid 2 hours.
Yeah. Yes.
It was just a lot of fun. It was very nostalgic. The music was great. The gameplay was fun. Just a good time.
Just a good
and it's
time.
on Game Pass.
Yeah, that's the other thing I was going to say. Like, it's on Game Pass. I think it's pretty reasonably priced. Beyond that, though, if it was something you wanted to get, I think it was like $25 or something like that.
Yeah.
So if it is something you just really like them, the turtles and
the mutants,
if you like the mutants, go for it. But anyway, yeah, that was a good time. It was a good time for sure. So,
Austin, you're not allowed to take Jake to play Destiny until he's caught up on Monster Hunter.
Oh, whatever. I almost touched Destiny today over lunch, and I couldn't bring myself.
Did you buy it dinner first?
Wow, I should have. Good point. I really should have.
Well, you probably would have to buy the equivalent of a few dinners just to play it again.
No. I'm good. But yeah, no, I'll reach out to you, Austin. Maybe Friday if we do a massive stream, we can. Maybe we can do a dungeon really quick, and then I can get with Steven and we can push through this game. So, well, that sounds like what we're doing Friday. So, what are we doing? Let's talk about the rest of our week. Of course, if you're new, we do the podcast every Monday night, usually around 8:00 ish. Here live on YouTube at chortlegames.com. And of course, it posts later on podcast services like Spotify and Apple Podcasts. So go rate us there, review us there, whatever. We also do live streams, usually Thursday nights, Friday nights, and Saturday nights. Going to be a little wild this week. Lots of big game updates or smaller game updates, just kind of all mixed together there. So it sounds like tomorrow night, Steve and y'all are going to do an Outriders stream.
Yep, that's the plan.
That's the plan. I'll maybe join that if I can.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, I know you would allow me to, but if I'm able, I would love to join. Then also Tuesday night is when, or not Tuesday night, but just tomorrow in general is when Mighty Thor will launch. So if you're interested in that, go do that. I was hoping, Steven, maybe Thursday we could do that.
I'd be fine with that.
Even if it's just you and me, I think that might be might be a fun time. Now, does Sunbreak? You said that launches Thursday night.
Thursday at 11 p.m. So I didn't plan on doing any Sunbreak content till Friday night at the earliest.
Gotcha. So
even if you catch up Friday afternoon, that's still pretty dang good.
What I'm thinking is Thursday night, let's do some Avengers.
Yep.
Try out Jane Foster's Thor. See how we feel about all that. But then Friday we'll do a big Monster Hunter stream, get me caught up, and then potentially what I'm kind of envisioning here, Steven. Well, we'll see. I think we do a big stream during the day. Maybe we can catch me up and start a little bit of Sunbreak before the day's over. I don't know that we can go into the afternoon because either one or two things is going to happen. I'd either have to take a break to get Asher in from daycare, get him through his nightly routine, and then come back, which would probably not be ideal. So probably if we could just do an all-day thing, I think we could do that. Because I mean, we're about to enter. Once we beat this, I think I'm into 5-star.
Yeah.
And I've only got to get to 7-star, right?
Through 7.
So once I'm at 8-star, I'm done.
Yes.
Yeah. So I think that's totally doable. I mean, basically, what we've kind of been, to give you a general time run of that, every 2 hours we've been accomplishing a star rank. So a hero rank, or what did they call them? Hunter rank. So I think we could do that pretty easily. But we'll plan that out. We'll let you guys know. Of course, follow us, join our Discord. You can get to that through the description. Also in our channel banner, if you go to chortlegames.com, right there at the top, click that beautiful Discord icon, and you'll be there. So World Slayer, Outriders World Slayer tomorrow night. Avengers Thursday night. Monster Hunter Friday.
Yep.
And into probably the afternoon, but probably not late. Won't be necessarily.
What's our start time tentatively for Monster Hunter, you think?
Let's
so I have a window.
You and I need to talk about that, because that ultimately will depend on you. I am completely free. So I could potentially start as early as you'd like. So we can workshop that time. But yeah, I would think an all day thing. I can tell you my cutoff time would have to be closer to like 4. I'd have to just call it.
Okay.
But I digress. So that's that'll be a lot of content Friday, and then Saturday, I guess we're free to do whatever. Maybe we circle back to World Outriders and let me join.
That would depend on Jeremy. I assume that he's going to be really wanting to do a stream on Saturday, so that would make sense to do Outriders.
Okay. Well, yeah, I think probably what will end up ultimately happening is I probably won't be able to join Tuesday night, but I can do Saturday night, and we can do Outriders again. So, okay, well that sounds good. Well, that is tentatively the game plan, everybody.
Yeah. Austin, real quick to answer your question, stream. I don't know. It's been a very long time since I played World. I think you just get what you get with jewels and decorations. I think you can just find them on hunts, and you just kind of have to cross your fingers. I think this game is a lot more generous.
You get what you get, and you sit on your bench.
Okay.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, Akib, what's up? We're right at the outro, man. Sorry to do it to you. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Of course, chortlegames.com is where you can keep up with us. You can go to the Discord, Chortle Games on Twitter, at Chortle Games, also at Chortle Games on Facebook if you want to keep up with us there. yeah, go check out Steven's Outriders tips and tricks video.
Boost that thing so that people can fly, can see it, and Sven can wish me happy birthday.
That's the ultimate goal. Steven just wants people can fly. We need to tweet that at them. I'll do that when maybe tomorrow morning. Anyway,
I would go ahead and do it tonight.
I think tonight.
Well, I mean, they are based somewhere else other than the
fair
States.
enough. All right, well, we'll do that.
World Slayer drops in the morning.
Yeah.
Oh, there's a Robin trailer tomorrow? Hell yeah.
So what Robin? What is
Gotham Knights, I assume is what he's talking about.
Oh, gotcha. I see. I was like, there's not a Robin show that I'm not aware of. And so anyway, I digress. I'm losing my mind. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching. We'll see you later in the streams this week. Otherwise, we'll see you next Monday. Have a good night. Bye.
Bye.
Get ready for this sweet outro, y'all. Are you ready? Here it is.